If you're planning on spending the holidays away from home, these are 5 things I had to unlearn as an American spending Christmas in Spain. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Danielle, and I've been living in Madrid, Spain for over a year now. And when I first moved out here, I went through a bunch of different culture shocks because my entire life I pretty much had been born and raised in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Philadelphia and I went to school in Pittsburgh. So moving out to Madrid, Spain was a real shock for me, just in terms of how society is so completely different. So this channel is dedicated to helping you understand some of these differences if you are planning on making the move or just planning a vacation. So let's get into it. Number one, they don't serve eggnog. It's a really super small detail that not a lot of people actually think about, but as an American, I've noticed how much pride and how much excitement there is around our traditions. And eggnog, especially during this time of year, is a huge part of it. But out here in Spain, they don't do eggnog. Their equivalent of drinking eggnog is drinking cava, which the closest thing I can think to is champagne, but I think the grapes are grown in a different region, so I don't think it actually qualifies as champagne. And it's the same thing with gingerbread homes as well. Like, you don't realize how many food things are uniquely your culture until you're taken out of it. And as an American, I had to completely unlearn the hype around gingerbread homes, around eggnog, because out here in Spain, they just simply don't do it. Their equivalent is cava, and these tiny little marzipan cookies that you're supposed to crush within the wrapper before you actually eat it. And it's supposed to be this fun thing that you do with the family, but it does not taste at all like gingerbread, nor do they have the gingerbread decoration kind of activity with the family. Number two, there's no snow. Unless Madrid is going through some abnormal weather changes, there's absolutely no snow here in Madrid. There was a storm once a couple years back, but everyone that I've talked to about it said that that was like a phenomenon. And last year when I spent Christmas in Madrid and when I went to Valencia, there was absolutely no snow the entirety of the month. And again, I come from Pennsylvania. If you've ever spent December or even just a winter in Pennsylvania, you know that we experience snow. In fact, we experience quite a lot of it. And something that I would always look forward to when I was in school was having snow days, because the snow would just pile up and the roads would get icy and everything would shut down for us students. And it was like the thing that we looked forward to. But out here, they don't have snow days because they don't have snow. And I don't know why, but it just adds a different feeling to when I think about Christmas time. Because when I think about Christmas time, I think of blankets of snow covering the streets, covering trees. I think of a Robert Frost poem come to life. And out here, the only thing that happens, the leaves change colors, they fall off, and people put up decor, and that's it. You don't actually see the full changing of the seasons in terms of precipitation. And this leads me to number three. There's more emphasis on decoration and decor in public displays rather than in private displays. So what do I mean by this? You know that in the US, we have consumerism. I think, in fact, we've mastered it, which means that everyone and their grandma, as soon as the holidays roll around, go to Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, or whatever your equivalent of that is, and they buy decorations for the home. They either buy special china, or if you were like my family, we would decorate the entire house, both inside and out. It was an event that we did with the family, or it was just something that we personally looked forward to because we took pride in dressing up our home. But out here, something I've noticed is that no matter where they fall on the economic spectrum, they don't really care about dressing up their home. It would be one thing if it was like, oh, we don't have the funds for it, but I've noticed that it's really like a cultural thing of like, oh, we'll just go experience it outside. And you really can. The amount of time and effort that some of these stores put into their decorations, it truly makes you feel the spirit of the holidays. You see huge wreaths adorning the walkways and entrances of different shops. You see adorable displays of penguins hanging outside different outlet stores. And you see the lights hanging from street to street, literally covering the middle of streets all around the city. And this big display of celebrating the festivities publicly and not privately was something that I really had to unlearn, because when I first moved out here and I had my first apartment, I was so excited because I was like, oh my goodness, when Halloween comes around, I'm gonna dress up the home. And when Christmas comes around, I'm gonna have decorations going up. And then I come out here and it just fully doesn't happen. No one goes out and buys a Christmas tree. No one that I've met is excited to go out and buy ornaments. They just like going around and seeing it in the public parks and the public squares. And number four, how purely Catholic it feels. Now, my experience could be a bit of a unique one because I was growing up in Pennsylvania, so if someone was growing up in California or Wisconsin, then your experience may differ. But as I got older, I started to notice that the city that I was living in was trying to be more inclusive in relation to the decorations that were put up, meaning that they would put out dreidels and menorahs for Jewish people for Hanukkah, they would put out the Kinara for Kwanzaa, and you could just really tell that we were trying to be more inclusive in regards to other religions. So when it was nearing Christmas time, we called it the holiday season. We didn't call it Christmas time. But out here in Spain, I really had to unlearn this because it is a very Catholic country, at least in the way it feels, because everything in terms of energy energy is poured into Christmas. You don't see menorahs, you don't see dreidels, you don't see anything else pointing to any other religion except for Christianity. And I'm not knocking this, I don't have any problem with it, but it's a really interesting take on the holiday season. It definitely does have something to do with the fact that there are more Christians than there are Jewish people, but it's really interesting to see just full-on Christmas decorations everywhere. And this leads me to number 5, which is the amount of markets. I absolutely love Christmas time during Madrid because of this reason alone. The markets that Madrid has are amazing. You can go through so many different districts throughout the city, and you will probably find a new market that you can go and explore. One of my favorite ones, for example, is actually on Serrano Street, and they line one of the squares with so many different little stands and shops specifically related to different Christmas things, like different foods that you can buy in the moment and for presents, and literal presents that you can buy for the actual day itself. And this just feels so fun and festive. And coming out here, I really had to unlearn just going to malls and just get used to the markets. Because again, it could have just been where I was living, but there were never Christmas markets that I could go to or that I even knew about. You had Christmas shops that were specifically pop-up style in malls or around, but it wasn't anything big and official. But out here, they take it seriously and start putting up these little shops and things mid to late November, and they stay until the new year. And again, I love this because even though it is very Christian, like they're celebrating Christmas, it's not like you can say, oh, happy holidays and try to be inclusive. It's specifically for Christmas. It feels so inclusive and so festive that you don't even need to be Christian in order to appreciate it and have fun going through it. Like this past weekend, I went to a market with one of my Muslim friends and we had the best time. And honestly, as a bonus, this is something else I had to unlearn. The feeling that religion was exclusive. Out here, it doesn't matter how religious someone is, everyone feels like family. And honestly, this is a testament to the Spanish culture just in general. So I can't even say that it's in the holiday spirit. This is just how they are on a day-to-day basis. But I really had to unlearn the feeling of, oh, it's Christmas time, I'm gonna be alone because I don't celebrate it. I should just become antisocial because everyone's gonna be with their families and they're just gonna keep the festivities for themselves. But no, it's been super inclusive and it's probably one of my most favorite things about living in Spain. Just the feeling that that family spirit doesn't end in blood. It's for everyone to enjoy. So I hope this has been helpful. And if you're looking to come out to visit Spain during the later weeks of December, then these are a few things to hopefully help make the adjustment easier so you know what to look out for. So as always, thank you for being here and I'll talk to you soon.